Entrepreneurship Week is next week. So we wanted to show you a quick video and then go through each event so you guys can know exactly what to expect for Entrepreneurship Week and what to expect next week for Shark Tank Night. So let's watch the video.
Obviously, like drawing and my passion. Obviously, like drawing and design and stuff. It just makes me happy.
I got started when I was in 6th grade. Me and my friends thought it'd be cool to make a band. Before that, I didn't like music that much.
I've always been really interested in health because I believe that health is the starting place for how to better someone's life so that from there they can grow and become better.
I am very interested in creating something that didn't exist before.
First I started out doing nursing and it was fun. I liked working with people. Just wasn't getting that accomplishment kind of feeling.
I guess it's kind of like the best feeling. Like when you do something way cool or like something awesome, I'm just like, yeah! That's kind of the feeling of like playing on stage and like doing something that sounds good.
When you're passionate about something and you really go after it, it really gives you the chance to feel like you're doing something worthwhile in the world. It gives you a whole sense of purpose that really drives you forward and you find success and fulfillment every day.
It makes me feel like I'm doing something important with my time. I know that what I'm doing is making a difference in the community, so that's why it's important to me.
To be completely honest with you, I get like the best, like in a non-druggy kind of way, like the best high. I don't know what it is. I just feel good about myself doing it.
You can kind of feel it. It's there. It's tangible.
If other people follow their passion, they're going to be able to find a sense of purpose.
All right, so really quickly, I just wanted to introduce the theme for Entrepreneurship Week, which is Passion Plus. All of us have something that we're interested in, that we're passionate about, but it's entrepreneurs who really take that passion to the next level. So to showcase that, just want to go through some activities. On Monday, we're going to have Food Truck Wars, where we have 4 food trucks from the community, and you all get to come and try out each one of them and vote for the best meal on wheels in Cache Valley. So that'll be fun. Come, there's gonna be live music and there's gonna be a lot of fun there. On Tuesday, we have our $100 startup competitors that are gonna be showcasing what they've been doing. And there's also gonna be hot dogs and we're gonna be giving out free Danique notebooks. So if you wanna come to that, that'll be an awesome event. Later that night, if any of you have heard of Bigger and Better, a game where you can trade to see who gets the biggest and greatest thing. This is going to be an Entrepreneurship Club night activity, so it's later that night, Tuesday at 6 o'clock. And there's going to be $500 worth of prizes given away. So come build a team of 2 to 3 people and get prepared to win some prizes. On Wednesday, there's a conference for intellectual property, which is a great opportunity for students. This event costs money for community members, but is free to students. If this is something that you're interested in, there's a small number of spots. So the best thing to do is to email Andy at andy.tunel@usu.edu if you want a spot. So if you want a spot for this conference, which is going to be a huge event, then email Andy and you can for sure get that spot. And then Shark Tank Night. So Shark Tank Night is huge because it's part of Lecture Series, so you will all be there. But also, 4 of our entrepreneurs are going to be there showcasing what their business is, but also pitching for some funding. So a little bit different, this event is going to be starting at 6:30, and it's going to be at the Ellen Eccles Theater. So don't come here, but the Ellen Eccles Theater is downtown on Main Street. Does everyone know where that is? Or look it up. It's right downtown in Center in Maine, and it's going to be starting at 6:30. If you have been selected to go to dinner, you'll be going to Bluebird that night. And if you want to go, you have to RSVP by Friday, no later than Friday. So look for an email from Carly, and you have to RSVP by Friday if you want that spot. The last thing for Entrepreneurship Week is there's going to be a top 10 of entrepreneurship of startup competitors, and they were going to be pitching at the Huntsman Hall. So if any of you haven't been to the Huntsman Hall is an awesome new building which is going to be open next week. And so on the third floor commons, they're going to be pitching, which is going to be a really cool event to see your fellow students. So that's Entrepreneurship Week. Are you guys excited? Like, this is sweet, right? But more important than Entrepreneurship Week is Marshall Miller. We're so excited that him and his wife are here to join us, and we're really excited to hear him speak. So I'm going to introduce our tonight's speaker. Marshall is a world-class paraglider pilot, ski, base jumper, and pro-rated skydiver. He travels the world in search of new and unique places to take to the skies. He picked up a paraglider for the first time in 1999 and discovered his life's purpose flying. As an aerial enthusiast with an infectious obsession with the sky, Marshall is most home aloft. He is entirely dedicated to pushing the boundaries of mountain sports and bringing the talent out of athletes around him. In addition to his athletic pursuits, Marshall holds a Bachelor's of Science in Business Finance from the University of Utah, and he is a dedicated family man with a beautiful wife and 2 children. So please join me in welcoming Marshall Miller.
I like that guy. Thank you, I appreciate it. Right on, guys. Passion. Andy actually named my talk tonight, Taking a Risk on Passion. And I probably could have said it better myself. Thank you for the opportunity here. I'm really excited to be here with everybody. I didn't expect to see half of you here, but psyched you all are here for sure. I love the theme of your series here, passion. The theme of that is your lecture series. I sure like that. You know, passion is definitely something I'm going to talk about tonight. As I get into this stuff, I've got some notes for sure so I can stay on track here. But I watched some of the other lectures in this series on YouTube to follow up to kind of get a vibe for what the message is being relayed here. And to start this off, just so you guys have a goal or know what I'm trying to accomplish tonight, I want to have a real conversation. I want to be real. I want to be honest with you guys. I want to talk about the life events that have brought me to where I am today. Probably the best way to start this off would be to show a couple videos here, just to kind of show you some of the things that I've been into the last little while. This first one is just a little clip here that Kavu made, and just kind of a wrap up of some of the jumps we used to do. So let's go ahead and play that, Oscar.
I'm scared, man. You want to go?
Hi, I'm Marshall Miller with the GoPro Bomb Squad and Team Kavu. Oh, that was so awesome!
Off the phone, boys. Let's go. One word to describe your sport.
Magic. I mean, to jump off a cliff where you're gonna die in 5 seconds and then I'm gonna open my wings and I'm gonna fly away from the cliff with a smile on my face. It's magic, you know? Wow, it's cool. Cut.
It's kind of magic, these magic backpacks that we have. Here's one more clip we're going to roll through. That was quite a few years ago. This is another clip that NBC just did for us, promoting a new series called The New High, how extreme sports are now being mainstream media through marketing.
9,000 feet above sea level, Miller checks the wind.
I mean, if we grab some dirt here,
It's gonna blow back on you.
Don't do it. It's gonna blow everywhere, but you can watch this.
It went straight up.
That's scary for us. What we're gonna do with this type of weather, we're gonna wait for lulls.
This is not for your weekend warrior, right? You don't dabble in this.
Wingsuit base jumping is something we take very seriously, something that we practice for a lot, we train for a lot. You don't just really show up and jump off of this cliff in a wingsuit. That's definitely a recipe for disaster.
Miller says proper training demands hundreds of skydives.
The longer we wait, the better it's gonna get.
Mother Nature cooperates on this day, and the men don their wingsuits, custom made and costing upwards of $2,000. Amundsen steps up first.
That moment when you jump off the cliff is such a special moment because, at least in my life, it's one of the things that demands complete focus, more so than almost anything else I've ever done.
How you guys feeling? You guys want 10 seconds?
We're all scared before we jump. There's an element of fear. Afterwards, the feeling of joy is so much, you're willing to deal with that as part of the experience.
Amundsen veers to the left, while Miller and Hall steer to within feet of our cameraman. Ripping past him before pulling their chutes. Woo! The ride from top to bottom lasts less than 90 seconds. Woo!
So yeah, just a couple of clips right there to hopefully get people fired up. I know just watching that stuff for me gives me the shivers. It makes me pretty uneasy, pretty scared, but pretty stoked to be living this life. Some of my background, just to rewind a few years here, I grew up not too far from here, just a couple hours south in a small town called Alpine, Utah. Anybody knows where that's at? That's great. Yeah, right in between Salt Lake City and Provo. I grew up there, lived my whole life there. And, you know, growing up, I did the typical Utah thing. I married my beautiful high school sweetheart and went on a 2-year study abroad, so to speak. And came back, and I was 21 years old and fired up for life. Started in school, went to the university, and you know, I had direction. I knew what I was doing. I was a server in a restaurant. I was going places, you know. And where we grew up, like we were talking about, the point of the mountain. The point of the mountain, you may have driven by there several times. It's right there just south of Draper. And it's a very famous place for paragliding and hang gliding. You've probably driven by there and seen 20 to 100 paragliders and hang gliders in the air there at any given time. The point of the mountain turns out to be a very consistent places, if not one of the most consistent places in the world to learn how to do this. Every morning the warm air comes from down south and blows up the south side of the point of the mountain, and every evening it cools off from up here north in the mountains and makes it really nice to ridge soar on the north side of the mountain. And so as I looked into this, I thought, at the time I mountain biked a lot and I rode dirt bikes a lot. And it seemed like every time I went out I would kind of get beat up, I'd get banged up, I'd get hurt a little bit. And I thought I was making a semi-responsible decision saying, I'm going to go check out this paragliding stuff. Seems pretty easy. They're just kind of floating around up there having a good time. And as I looked into it and did some homework, I found out that it was pretty fascinating that I could have an aircraft and throw it in a backpack, and I could hike up to the top of some of these mountains along the Wasatch. And it sounded really cool to save my knees for the hike down, and I could just pull out my aircraft on top of Mount Timpanogos and fly down to the valley in 5 or 10 minutes. And so signed up for some paragliding lessons, got certified, and 2 weeks later I was flying right next to my house. I lived in the apartments right next to those things, and every morning and every evening before and after work I would go fly to the point of the mountain. It was exhilarating. It was something I'd never done before, something I was totally fascinated by. And I thought I was getting pretty good at this. 3 months later, I crashed. I crashed really bad. And on the same hill that I learned on, on the south side of the point of the mountain, I was flying around one morning, getting really good, I thought, doing this maneuver called a wing over. It's kind of where you oscillate side to side. It's like a huge swing set for adults. And as I was going up to the side and the other side, I remember pulling my toggle really, really hard on the last one. I was going to get up really far on this side. And as I went up to the side, I didn't have enough momentum to bring the glider back down. And together, with me and the glider, it collapsed and we crashed. We fell from about 70 feet. And as I fell towards the ground, my glider reinflated below me as I was out here, and it swung me into the hill. And as I saw the hill coming, I kind of put my legs up to take the impact of it. And it shattered my femur, broke my pelvis, broke 4 of my vertebrae, and it even broke both my arms. And so, welcome to paragliding. I was so not cool at the time. I was newlywed, in a wheelchair that I couldn't run because my arms were broken. That was my start to paragliding. So, needless to say, I took a year off, mostly because I had to. I was in a wheelchair. But I was always fascinated by human flight. I was fascinated that people could fly. I had a friend at the time through paragliding. His name's Carson Klein, still one of my really good friends. And he was a skydiver, and he was also a base jumper. And I remember thinking these skydivers were pretty crazy people. They'd go up in an airplane, they'd jump out, and for kicks and giggles, they would jump out of a perfectly good airplane. And then base jumpers, I simply thought had a death wish. I just thought that they were adrenaline junkie thrill seekers, if you will. One day after a year later, the itch came back to fly. The itch came back that I wanted to be airborne again. And so I got back into paragliding about a year and a half later, this time with much more caution and lots of respect. Through paragliding one morning, though, a couple years later, my friend Carson, after a morning of flying, he told me he was going to make a base jump. And I'd never seen a base jump in real life. I said, yeah, let's check it out. I would love to see this. And so we went to a place called Rock Canyon. It was, it's in Provo Canyon, right above Provo right there. It's a 300-foot cliff, and you can get on top of this thing in like 20 or 30 minutes. So I stayed at the bottom, and he ran up there, put his rig on, and took a step back from the cliff and hollered down at me that he was going, and then took a step and just jumped off. And reached back, deployed his parachute, and parachute came open perfectly on heading, and he flew down and landed right in front of me and like high-fived me when he landed. And I was like, wow, that was incredible. And he landed with this huge infectious smile that I'd never seen before. Like someone was living. Someone was doing it better than me. Someone was making the most of this. And I remember thinking, what do you know? Teach me this. And so he said, you got it. I said, how do I get into it? He said, learn how to skydive and get really, really good at skydiving. So I took a step back and I said, okay, how do we start? He said, come with me next weekend. We'll go for a tandem skydive at Skydive Ogden, just down the road from here. We went, we did it, jumped out of a plane together, totally freaked out, but we landed. And looking back, I'm now a tandem instructor, skydiver, and I'll take people for fun, not for a living, but to share the experience with them. And there's 2 types of people, how they react after their first tandem skydive. Most people will jump out terrified. When the jump master gives a thumbs up, the green light flips on, the door opens up, and you slide down this bench, and you look at the door. And when you look out, nothing. Skydiving is mellow because you can't see like a person. You can't see a car. You can't see a house. Everything's just like 13,000 feet away. It's, you're not going to hit that for a long time. And so, these two types of people, one person will land and just be like, wow, check the box. I skydived. Rad. There's another type of people, the thing that happens with some people, maybe 20% of the people, maybe less, that are like, sweet, can I do that again right now? Can I give you another $200 and go up? And I think I was that type of person where I was just like, this is awesome. You can do this repeatedly. And so we went back up we didn't go back up, but the next weekend I signed up for what's called an AFF course, accelerated freefall course. I gave him $1,000 and said, let's do this. Let's learn how to skydive as well. And so that was my introduction to flying through all this stuff. All during this time, I was going to school, doing my thing, and I graduated from college and got a business finance degree, and it was time that I went and did something with my life. I had to get a real job. You guys are in a really good stage right now where you can be students, enjoy these years, because once the mama bird kicks you out of the nest, you've got to go find a real job, and that's when it's like, now what? So at the time I went out and I was full of optimism, and I went out and I got a job. I worked for a real estate developer in Salt Lake, and I sat in a model home and I would sell new construction homes. And this job, this was about 2005 probably, and this job was awesome. This job was actually really awesome. It was just my wife and I and one child, and we were making more money than we knew what to do with. I was selling 5 to 20 homes a month, sitting in this model home, and I was making 3 to 5% on each one of these transactions. And I was in my 20s, and I remember thinking in my 20s with my naive brain that I'm making all this money, I'm doing well, am I successful? I felt really successful. But I had a skewed perception on success. Success to me at the time meant consuming material items. And I bought $1 million house, had a couple $100,000 cars, stuff that I didn't need, and I just thought to myself, I'm on track to be done with life in my 30s. By the time I'm 40, I'm for sure never working again. I'm the most successful guy in town. This is about 2008. You probably remember what happened in 2008. There was an economic recession and a real estate crash. And at the time, aside from selling homes out of this model home, I kind of learned a lot of things. I was smart. I was always inquiring, how could I make more money, and how can I sharpen my skills, if you will. And in 2008, I had a lot of liabilities out there. I had a lot of loans out for homes. I had a lot of construction loans for new construction homes, spec homes that I was building. I had a lot of loans out for land acquisitions. And everything back then, before 2008, if I bought a house, the day I closed on it, I could immediately put it up for sale, and it would sell within a month, and it was always profitable. I always made money on it. And 2008 came along, and I remember it was crazy to me. At the time I had, roughly each month I had to make around $20,000 a month to pay for my liabilities, which someone should come up here and kick me for thinking that's normal. That's absurd. I mean, I had that much liability out there, and then when the real estate economy crashed, it's like someone literally turned off the faucet. I remember thinking to myself, I only need to make 20 grand a month. I'm going to tighten my game up. I'm going to, sell off some of my real estate acquisitions. And quickly I found out that I couldn't make 20 grand a month. I couldn't even make 2 grand a month. Now what? This was when my life changed. That's when this happened. This is when it got real. This is when I had to look within. All when this happened, you can imagine over the next year, I felt like I lost everything. I lost any material thing I thought was cool. I lost my house that I was living in with my family. I lost my cars. I lost most everything, really. The stress and feeling like such a failure was so heavy on me. I almost lost my family even. You can imagine what a kick in the pants this was. And the only thing in my life at the time that brought me joy was flying. And I was getting good at it. I was logging a lot of airtime. And as I kind of fumbled around for the next year and tried to make ends meet through odd and end jobs, I moved into a pretty simple townhome, simplified my life. My father helped me out with getting me on my feet with a car, little things like that meant the world to me at the time and still do. I had a friend at the time named Neil Amundsen, a good friend of mine, who had a relationship he met through a trade show. He went to a trade show and met a company who made these small wearable cameras. And he had 2 of these cameras, and we went out and used them. We went out and made some base jumps with them. We went out and flew our paragliders, went skydiving with them. And I remember we got back and we're like, you guys, check this out. Check out what I do for fun. And otherwise before this, we'd go out and we'd make a base jump or we'd go flying and we'd come home and tell our friends and family, like, you guys wouldn't believe what we did today. But you could never properly explain it. You'd always kind of make your way through it. But now with these little wearable cameras, you could come back and you'd plug it into the TV and all of a sudden you'd watch it. You'd watch us jump out of a plane. You'd watch us jump off of a cliff. And this was groundbreaking for us. This was something that we thought was fascinating. We could share our experiences now with people. This was a company you may have heard of. It's called GoPro. This happened in 2009. In 2009, GoPro was a very small company with fewer than 10 employees. And they had all the stoke in the world. They were hungry. They were going to trade shows. They were selling cameras here and there. And we started to align ourselves with them and build a relationship with them. They gave us 2 cameras, and we went out and shot a bunch of stuff that we like to do on the weekends, really. And as we came back, we would share these aerial images with GoPro using their cameras. And the relationship started for the first year that they would use our images to help promote their product and show the diversity of their cameras. This was the start of the GoPro Bomb Squad. The GoPro Bomb Squad, short and long, is 3 really good friends that all shared a similar interest through air sports. And the 3 of us were pretty good together. We were good at several different disciplines of air sports, from paragliding to wingsuits to speed flying and to base jumping. We were pretty proficient at all these air sports. We thought we were pretty good at them. And the 3 of us together collectively thought, what would be the coolest thing ever is if we could get paid to do this. If we could actually align ourselves with companies that with a mutual end goal, with a mutual interest in this stuff. And so we pitched the concept of an exclusive human flight team to GoPro. And the timing just worked out perfectly where GoPro said yes. And our job was to spread the stoke, specifically, to be a positive influence and to motivate others to be a hero. And to start, GoPro bought us 3 logoed parachutes. And we would go to events like the Outdoor Retailer. We would go to races, other different trade shows. We would charter a helicopter, and we'd go above the venue, and we would jump out with these 3 brand new logoed parachutes, and we would fly down with our flying billboards. And it was a pretty cool way to fire up a crowd. It was a pretty cool way to get people excited about it. 3 parachutes coming and landing. And really what we do is we'd land our parachutes right there, put our stuff away, high-five the crowd, and we'd go directly to the booth. And we'd go to the booth and help set everything up. We'd sit in the booth and sell cameras. We'd tell people how long the batteries lasted, how to use the new cameras. And GoPro at the time, they paid us $500 a day to jump. And, me and my friends somehow came up with this, since we're taking so much risk, we should probably get paid $500 a day. And it lined up where they said yes to it. And then they'd pay us a couple $100 a day to work in the booth, to set up the cameras, to take down things, and just to help out. Like I said, there was less than 10 people at GoPro at the time. I remember the time wow, someone is paying us to do this. I'd like slug my friend and be like, is this for real? Someone just paid us $500 and they paid for the helicopter. You know, they see some benefit in this. Immediately, like the light just clicked on. Like, what other companies are out there that could mutually benefit from some of these aerial images? What other companies could we align ourselves with that saw what we're trying to accomplish here? And let's click on some videos here. I want to show you 3 videos that kind of showcase how GoPro is using our images to help promote the product. We also did a lot of demo jumps. Well, let's watch these 2 videos first, then we'll get into the third here in a second.
Oh, buddy, that was cool, eh?
Help produce the products. This next video is a jump that I've probably done 50 times. It's on a cliff in Switzerland called the High Ultimate. This particular day we had our cameras on our heads, and it just made sense as we were going up the gondola from the valley floor. This is about a 2,500 foot cliff, and as we took the gondola up, there was clouds halfway down the wall, and we jumped this cliff a lot. This particular day we knew where the clouds were, and we had friends on the ground that we could radio with and say, hey, how's the conditions down there? And when we got to the exit point, this is what we saw. And GoPro turned around and made a video of it, and it turned out to be pretty cool, and definitely a memory that I'll have forever. I would say probably the number one thing we did at GoPro is we did demonstration skydives. And we would show up to these events, either NASCAR races, NFL football games. The clip we're going to watch here was a Supercross event at Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego where the Chargers play. This is a raw clip, unedited. I threw a GoPro on my helmet, and this really captures what we would do. So we would take a helicopter up above the stadium. This jump was at night, about 5,000 feet, and you couldn't see anything down there except for this glowing ball of light. And we knew that was the stadium. That's where 50,000 people were sitting. And that's the target. Take the helicopter right over the top. We had ground-to-air radio comms, and the crowd was down there, and they couldn't see us, but they would count us down, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we'd jump. I'd open my parachute here about 2,000 feet, and go ahead and play that one. I love that camera angle. It's hilarious. But that really captures kind of what we did with this stuff. This was all in a time where social media was just becoming a thing. YouTube had just came out. We had these media platforms that we could share this stuff. And as me and my team were gaining notoriety, we aligned ourselves with a handful of other like-minded companies that saw this need for exciting new media. And believe me, we were glad to fulfill that requirement with these other companies. And they definitely support us along the way. This is what we've been doing for the last 6 years. Orlando, we can turn that off so we can get my goofy face off the screen there. This is what we've been doing for the past 6 years. And I'm always mindful of what's next. What's the way forward? What's the future forward? I'm the first to admit that this isn't going to last forever. As much as I want to freeze this moment, the last 5 years in time, and as much as I've tried with my wife and with everything in my life, I'll be the first to admit it's not going to last. What's the next step forward? And so as I move forward, I try to be mindful of what opportunities are out there. I really feel like I fell into this opportunity by being open to opportunities and being flexible to capitalize on opportunities as they present themselves. Next thing I want to talk about here is kind of what is shifting in my world. And what I see by that is we now have this platform where we have a human flight team that you can call, and we can come to your corporate event. We can do marketing effort. We can do commercials. We can do all kinds of different fun and exciting marketing ideas to help whatever your campaign may be. The next thing I want to talk about here is something that's a case in point. Here a month or two ago during Super Bowl 50, we had a really cool opportunity to create something really cool. This was the client on this was Pepsi and Papa John's, and together with a good friend and incredible super talented YouTuber named Devin Graham, a lot of you may have heard of this guy, he's rad. We had the opportunity to coordinate and execute the media needs for some of these big companies. So what I'd like to watch this 2.5 minute video here, but then there's a behind the scenes video after that kind of goes into more detail as to what was involved in this. Let's go ahead and play that, thanks.
Blue 80. Blue 80.
I find you.
action! Here we are at Skydive, Arizona. Teamed up with Whistle Sports, Pepsi, and Papa John's to basically pull the ultimate football play in the air.
We decided the best NFL play to recreate was the catch. Montana to Clark, NFC Championship to beat the Dallas Cowboys. We're just recreating that catch, but from a plane 14,000 feet in the air.
We're ready to play some football. 7 of us jumping out of a sky van this morning. 1 filmer, 3-on-3 football, team gold, team black.
We're rigging up our face mask mount so we can get that awesome POV shot. So it looks like you are the football player, you're the eyes, like they're actually crashing in, tackling each other.
Like even on one of them, just like a hand in there to get that POV.
Yeah, that look rad. It's all about getting the perspective you normally would never see. This is a typical GoPro shot, but you're never gonna stick a $50,000 red camera on your head, but we're doing that for this shoot.
It takes about 20-30 minutes for the Packers to get our parachutes sorted out. We need Devin to review the footage, check everything out, tell us what he thinks, what he likes, what he doesn't like. Yes. We have about 20 minutes to choreograph each jump while we go out on the grass out here and pretend like we're in the sky. Everybody has a position and we know who we're next to, what our plan is, and we have 2 objectives on each jump.
And then the lower you can be looking up, the better it's gonna look, I feel.
Let's go fly up an airplane. Chase a football.
So how'd the first take go? A little wild. The ball did more flips than we did.
We dropped 2 balls out here in the desert. They create a pretty big crater here in the dirt.
There it is. This thing's got pummeled.
It snapped all those stitches.
Completely destroying the football, so that's why we're out here in the middle of nowhere, so no one's getting hurt.
That's a wrap for day 1. We'll be back tomorrow.
Right now we're out in the middle of nowhere, Arizona, the Coolidge Airport, between there and Eloy, Arizona.
So we got this C-130, which is a gigantic airplane that we've always wanted to film with.
And a 407 helicopter. Talk about a lot of action at one place at one time.
This is the Shadow F1 system, which is 6-axis gyro-stabilized camera system.
Filming with the shot over is like a dream come true.
Normally we're used to chasing trucks through the desert, and this time we were chasing planes through the air, flying air-to-air formations. You know, it was definitely a really cool experience.
My favorite moment of the shoot by far is one very specific moment. Look down the 100-foot hallway and you see these 2 doors just open up and kind of reveal the earth. It was incredible.
I'm the aerial cinematographer, so I wear a big 12-pound red camera up on my helmet and document all the superstar in the sky flying around. Jumped out of this plane for Fast and Furious 7 and C-130 like it for Godzilla.
Yeah! C-130! Oh! That is so awesome.
We are on the field. We're not going to tell you which field, but we're on a football field.
It was actually a soccer field this morning, and they've covered up all the soccer lines. They're painting to make it look like a football field.
You walk in, you get the chills, man. I mean, this place is huge. So we want Curtis, the hero that's playing Dwight, to land at the 50. He's got like a Ferrari parachute. He's gonna come in so fast that we're gonna almost have to cheat that. We just had a second jump and it was amazing. Everyone came in and they were all set up for Curtis. So when he got in, he comes sliding in and everybody got the parachutes and went flying at him, and it was amazing. I loved it.
Yeah,
dude, it was so perfect.
Battle points for Curtis right
I'm
there.
the man.
You're the
I'll tell
man.
you all about it.
All right, I got the Papa John's pizza and Pepsi.
Yeah!
I love Papa John's pizza.
Woo! All right, that's a wrap.
Yeah, everybody, that was awesome.
We did it. Oh my gosh.
Curtis, nice work, dude.
Yeah, so what a ride it's been. What a rad experience this has been, you guys. just to wrap up here and kind of summarize a few things here, I just want to share with you a couple things a few key things that I've learned along the way, and a few things I've gathered. Recently I had a conversation with my dad, and I asked my dad, I said, what advice would you give yourself 30 years ago? And really I was asking these questions, I want to know what feels rewarding as we get older. I want to know what to look back on. Like, what are we going to look back on and feel accomplished about in our lives? And my dad's a very progressive rock. He was a very progressive rock and ice climber, a total stud, financially very well off, and owns his own business. And his perspective is important to me. And the first thing he said to me was, I would love to have pictures and videos of my adventures when I was your age. And I feel like when we get older in life, we're not going to look back on life and say, I feel so good I have all this money in the bank, or I feel so good that I have this incredible house, or whatever material things might be cool for us. I feel like we're going to look back in life and say, I'm so happy I said yes to that. I'm so happy I had that memory. I'm so happy I had a dream or I had a vision, and I said yes to it. I went and I accomplished these things. Looking back on my real estate days, I think from the surface it might look pretty cool, but for that decade, that 8 to 10 years, I look back and I don't have any memories. No memories stick out in my mind. I look back and I had some nice things, but nothing sticks out like, yeah, remember that time? The last 10 years have been totally different. As a matter of fact, just the opposite. I look back on these last 10 years and say, I'm so grateful that I've always had a GoPro with me or by my side to capture these memories. Because I imagine when I'm 60 or 70 years old, it's going to feel pretty rewarding and pretty fulfilling to sit down with my kids and grandkids and loved ones and say, check this out. This is what we used to do. That's pretty cool. So success is what you make of it, and success is actually a very personal thing. Like we talked about, success means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Overcoming objectives, challenges, whatever the case may be. And my last bit of information or last bit of advice is really, guys, to trust yourself. Nobody knows you like you know you. Trust yourself. Listen to your inside. Listen to your inner voice. Listen to what your heart and your soul tells you to do. Listen to what your heart and soul says yes and no to. I expect a lot out of life. I want to live this life. I want to look back with no regrets, and I want to be productive, and I want to contribute to this society and contribute to life. I'm not sure what I'll be doing in the next 5 to 10 years, and that's a vulnerable position to be in. But I do know that I'm open to what's next. My availability is open. I'm resourceful, and I know that whatever opportunity presents itself next, I'm going to see that. I'm going to recognize it. I'm going to capitalize on it. And then in closing, I just want to say, do what calls to you. Do what makes you happy. Do what's exciting to you. Do what you love. Find that passion we talked about a little bit earlier. I really find it's easier to excel at things when we're passionate and we have some heart and we're excited about that. Live this life. Thanks, you guys. I appreciate it. Thanks, man.
So we're not going to do Twitter questions. You can just raise your hand and ask away.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, it's right here. Go ahead.
So you were like jumping out of planes and like paragliding and stuff while you were in college. How did you fund yourself?
Great question. Yeah, great question. How did I fund myself in my adventures when I was in college? Before I finished college, I had this same real estate job where I was able to make a few bucks. And that definitely helped a lot to fund a lot of the trips and a lot of the, for example, $1,000 to get certified skydiving. That was a big deal back then. And a lot of the things were, if I saw the reward in the investment or the return on the investment, I would say $1,000 is well spent. So, yeah, great question, especially for college students, is how do you support the fun? So, timing worked out on that one, really, right there.
Is your wife scared of heights?
Is my wife scared of heights? We just had an intimate kind of session with 10 or so of the students here about an hour ago, and it was cool to have her in there. And have her answer these questions. She's terrified of heights. She's never been skydiving with me. She has no drive or need or want to go up with me. She's humored me a couple times and been tandem with me paragliding. But yeah, you can ask her that after this class, you bet. Anybody else out there? Right on, guys. I sure appreciate the time tonight. Thanks a lot.
We just wanted to thank Marshall again, and we have this gift for you. So,
hey.
Thanks again.